First of all, I want to express my horror at the carnage that happened in Kisumu today by the police. 20 people are in hospital, and this should not happen. We live in a democracy, and some of us are going to insist that that democratic environment has to be seen in practice. And we are not going to have a country where innocent and armed civilians are butchered by those who are supposed to protect them. Having said that, this question is not even a legal question. It is what I call a question of common sense. Mm-hmm. And it has nothing to do with the decision of Raila 2013 or Justice Mativo today. It has everything to do with what the Maraga court did on September 1st. The Maraga court ordered the IBC to conduct a fresh presidential election in accordance with the Constitution and the law. Now ask yourself the question, because this is not law. What is fresh? Fresh means new. Fresh means, in the context of an election, a repeat. What is a repeat of an election? It is not a runoff.
It's not a rerun.
It's not a rerun. It's not a rerun, nor is it a runoff. I disagree respectfully with my brother Kanjama. They must have conducted what would have been in law construed as a nomination. And all they needed to do was put a notice that those interested in vying for the presidency of the Republic of Kenya to submit a letter. And they would have gotten the letters plus the people's qualification pursuant to law. Then they would have gazetted the names. Then they would have proceeded to conduct those elections. Yes. Had they done that, then if Honorable Raila Odinga was to withdraw, you would have been required to file Form 24A. Now, having not conducted a fresh nomination, because there was no election on August 8th, according to the Supreme Court, they therefore cannot tell Honorable Raila Odinga that he must comply with the requirements of some law, i.e. the filing of Form 24A, when they did not conduct nominations. The Supreme Court decision of 2013 talked about abandonment, paragraph 290. It said, if a presidential candidate dies or abandons, now you would expect that to abandon, the definition of to abandon, the ordinary meaning is not to file a form. It's simply to notify someone that you are no longer a candidate for that office, which is what the Right Honorable Raila Odinga did yesterday.
So it is your contention that his notice to the IEBC in writing means that he is formally out of the race?
Correct. And by operation of law, therefore, the elections stood voided, meaning that the 26th of October was vacated yesterday by operation of law. If you read the articles of the Constitution, and then you read the decision of 2013, then you read the direction that they were given by the Supreme Court, it is obvious. Let me say the final thing is this. The IBC is not just legally unsound in everything they do. They break all the laws. They did in the August 8th election. That is why the elections were voided. And they are in contempt of court. This decision to proceed with a presidential election without conducting even a rudiment of a nomination, and to have decided that they were not going to allow Ikuru Ekot and others to run, was actually a contempt of court. Because ask yourself the question, if the figures, the results, were nullified, meaning they don't exist, on what basis did they pick Uhuru Kenyatta and Raila Odinga as candidates? How did they pick them?
But if the election was vacated yesterday with Raila's withdrawal, then are you saying that the High Court ruling today was...
No, on the High Court ruling, let me say this. Number one, Justice Mativo had already written his decision. He did not, I would assume, by yesterday, he had already drafted his decision.
Right.
And he was not dealing with the Raila Odinga situation, had not received a formal notice of his withdrawal. That was not a matter before him.
So these two are unrelated and unconnected.
Completely unrelated. And then he was only dealing with the context of someone coming before him, that is a Kuru Ekot, for the interpretation of what a fresh presidential election is.
Okay.
And I believe he interpreted it correctly.